challenge. If you're an atheist watching this video, put a comment, explain why you think somebody can be moral and atheist at the same time. I guarantee you, inshallah, that as I continue this video, go ahead and comment now. Your comment is only going to prove my point. Let's begin. What does it mean to be an atheist? We're not talking about an agnostic who says like I don't know, but an atheist is sure that there is no God, there is no creator, no Allah, you don't believe in any kind of guidance. And then people say, well, with that, I can still be a moral person. Well, not quite. Let's take it back a step. If you're an atheist, then you believe the universe is purely material. You believe that laws of nature, physics, govern the universe, it's observable, it's knowable, not governed by any kind of divine guidance, no supernatural powers. Anything that breaks the laws of physics, you cannot explain. Anything that is not in line with what you would consider natural selection and development, you have no answer for. So that would mean that the universe is impersonal. There is no purpose, there is no guidance. Basically, whatever the natural development of the universe is, that is what you believe brought everything about and what runs everything. So if we take that, then there is no such thing as objective morality, right? Everybody will have their own idea of what's moral. Now, there are two schools of thought. Some will say, and I'm sure there will be comments, will say, well, we believe in the development of a logical morality, right? Meaning that it's only logical that you show compassion to a child or so on. But in reality, that doesn't work. I mean, that argument actually works against the idea because it is illogical to try to help somebody or save somebody's life who's old and sick. It would be illogical to save a mentally challenged child because you know the outcomes will not be like that of a capable child, so on. So that would mean that in reality, logical deductions would not bring you to any type of morality, right? Then you would just be like robots. You would just be making decisions based on numbers and figures. And I think everybody across the board in the world would say, that's not moral, right? Then the other school of thought, and I'm sure we're going to get this in the comments as well, believes in a social morality, meaning that if people come together on large scales and consider something to be moral, it must be moral. Meaning, most people, if you go and speak to them, and you said, hey, if you see a child drowning, what's the moral thing to do? And you would be like, you would go and help the child, you would save the child. And if in a society, people on a large scale take that to be moral, then that's what moral is. But that's interesting, because that also kind of comes back to say, well, what if society at large take something immoral, something against what we really know, us who believe in a creator, who are theists, who believe in a religion, we know to be wrong. For example, taking a free person and enslaving them, as it was done with the people of Africa by the Europeans and so on. We know that that is something that's against moral standards. But there was a time in America, there was a time in Europe when at a large scale, people considered that perfectly moral. So as an atheist, would you then say that slavery that was done to Africans and then as they were brought to America, called African Americans, the torture and slave, because it was accepted by society of the time, it was perfectly moral? And if you do take that argument, then nobody's moral, because people of that time would not consider a lot of things we do today to be moral, and we sitting here today at a large scale of society would not consider what they did to be moral. In fact, if you take that to be morality, then Hitler was perfectly moral. I mean, his society supported him, he had large following, and if they considered the genocide of the Jewish people or Polish people or other people to be moral, then as an atheist, you would consider that to be okay. If society came together and considered child rape to be moral, then you as an atheist would say, man, you know, that is moral because the social development of a society considered it moral. But that is exactly wrong, because you know and I know that that's not moral. Morality is not just what people can all agree on, right? And that is why me, as a believer in divine guidance, and those who do believe in a God, in a creator, in divine purpose, we know morality is set by our creator. Our creator. And if you look in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, in the Quran, in many of these books of guidance, you will find similar laws. Don't worship idols, don't worship false deities, don't kill, don't steal. So we base our moral code on such things. And we as Muslims base our morals on divine kalamullah, the words of God, purely from God, and what was sent with his prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So now we have a clear moral code. This is why, and I'm going to challenge you guys here now. I'm going to bring you quotes from your own leadership, from your shuyukh, from your priests, from your heroes that you pretty much worship, right? That will prove your point. Whatever comment you've already put, they will prove it wrong. William Provine, you know who he is if you're an atheist and you read a lot. He said, modern science directly implies that there is no ultimate meaning for humans. That's his quote. Look it up, right? Richard Dawkins, some of you guys get all excited when you even hear his name, right? Richard Dawkins, he said, the universe we observe has precisely the properties that we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blindness, that indifference. This is his words. DNA neither knows or cares. DNA is just as it is, and we dance to the music. There is no right or wrong, right? So there is no moral code for an atheist. You can't be an atheist and be moral because there's no moral standard. Now, Edward O. Wilson, again, if you're an atheist and you're well read, you know who he is. He says, no species, ours included, possesses a purpose beyond the imperative created by its genetic history. Right? So now you realize, as an atheist, it is impossible to have purpose because you believe the universe has no purpose. You believe life has no purpose. You believe there's no creator, there's no designer, there's no development of society. It's just all genetics, right? It's all accidents. So if you, as an atheist, kill somebody and you can justify it in your own mind, that's perfectly moral for you. If you rape and pillage, who's to say that's right or wrong? Society? So if society agrees to commit genocide against the people, that's perfectly moral. If society agrees that somebody needs to be killed because they're disabled and they're a burden on society, perfectly logical. This is why, alhamdulillah, we thank Allah that Allah sent us divine guidance from the Creator who knows us best on how to live, what's right and what's wrong. And that's why I encourage all of you to just read the Quran. If nothing else, get it. Get a Quran and read the divine guidance from our manufacturer, our Creator, the one who made us, our Creator Allah, on how to live, the rights and wrong of morality. And that is the only way to be moral, is to have the divine code of morality.